Are you there? Yes, mommy. Mommy, how? What's it happen? You collect that all?
Yeah, they say they don't give all. So now three bags and 2 wrap on them.
Okay.
Where the first bag get the perfumes, the 2 other bags then get soap.
Okay.
And then I did wrap on the contents. I say, say as I did now at my house they so they like to mix up things. So I'll just lock inside motor, one go in there now. Come back. I'll just and go.
Yes, we're live now.
Can you see me now?
Yes, I can see you. Your voice is still, you're not able to see your picture on the board. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. My name is... Okay,
I can see myself. I can see
my name is Dr. Nakhan. Yes, I can see you. I can see you.
Okay.
So, and I think we are live from 2 minutes almost now. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Dr. Nakhan, psychologist, psychotherapist, speech therapist, and our today guest is Eric Moore. He's from United Kingdom. Basically, he's from Cameroon, but in United Kingdom, he's working as autism specialist, and now he is pursuing his career to becoming a learning disability nurse. And today, the topic of our discussion is.
And now he is pursuing his career to becoming a learning disability.
I can see you.
Yes, that's fine.
So today we are going to talk about challenging behavior, managing challenging behaviors. And thank you so much for joining us today, Eric. It's nice having you. So I would like you to introduce yourself first, then we will start our discussion.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anila, and I'm very happy to have joined your program today. My name is Eric Moore, and I am someone who is very passionate working with people with autism and learning disability. So it is something that I've been doing for over 12 years. I have experience in the field as a researcher. I also have experience working with children with autism and even adults with autism. So the experience is wide and across the globe. I do that in Africa, I do it here in the UK, and I'm very comfortable discussing any topic of your choice when it comes to people with autism. I hope today people who listen can have more to share, more to discuss with us, and all of us can always get the experience we need. So thank you very much for inviting me to your program, and I hope it will be a learning experience.
Yes, of course it is. And our yesterday discussion was so good, and I was thinking about our discussion. We should run that session live as well. But if we plan to do something more, then every day is an interesting day, and every day is a okay. So I would like you to define what is challenging behavior, according to your, you could say, your experience. How you define a challenging behavior?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. I look at challenging behavior very different from what would be in the books. You will realize that when you talk of challenging behavior or behavior that challenges, which is a better word to use, it's a behavior that parents, family members, and the community will see as inappropriate behavior within the public or in public places. So you realize that the challenging behavior when it comes to autism is quite different. And very often it's sometimes related to their mood and the way people behave. So I would just like to give you a short background, but can you just talk for 1 minute? Let me come. Just give me 1 minute. Can you just discuss for 1 minute, then I join you back? Give me a minute, please.
Okay. Okay, it's okay. So today we are talking about challenging behavior, and as he's doing a lot of work with those who have autism, with children and adult as well. And recently we were discussing yesterday about the learning disability and the aspect of learning disability, and that was a long discussion in which in the conclusion of our discussion is that when we talk about learning disabilities, then it is sometimes which may you are not maybe born with. Autism could be you could see early signs, but until and unless a child go to a school or child go to nursery, then that's how when you start noticing something different, or the child is not able to get some concept, or child is not able to understand anything, or even the child is not picking up sounds which we call phonics. When you talk about jolly phonics and other phonics or other system of studying the phonics. So when you talk about the phonics, the child is not able to get these phonics, or the child is not able to understand what commands are given to that person, or child is not able to hold the pencil and write it appropriately, or sometimes the child is not able to grasp the simple concept of mathematics. So it's basically learning disability. So sometimes people with autism have learning disability as well, but today we are talking about challenging behavior. That is basically challenging behavior is a different behavior, difficult behavior, or an appropriate form of behavior which a normal population is not able not doing that thing. For example, if you talk about a group setting, then a person is supposed to sit. Then we are when you're group setting, everybody sitting in their chair, and if you're talking, then everybody have to wait for their own turn. So if you see these children, then it's very difficult for them to sit in a chair for a longer period of time. You might see these children sitting for a second, and jumping around, and maybe start hustling here and there, or they might take some other person's stuff, or you could say creating some kind of disturbance. So sometime in home environment maybe you could tolerate these things, but maybe if you see these things happening in the class, then definitely that is a challenging behavior which is difficult for the normal population to understand.
It is a topic which is quite interesting as well. This is a very difficult topic, but challenging behavior is something which is very good for us. It is a topic which is quite interesting as well. This is a very difficult topic, but challenging behavior is something which is very good for us. Can
You
you
have
hear
to
me
turn
now?
off the. I think I might lose you for a little bit time. Okay, so before
Yeah.
you went, I was talking about challenging behavior. So
Yes.
can you please explain more about a challenging behavior in the school setting, in the home setting, and in the social situation?
Yes. Yes. I would like to say that when we talk of challenging behavior, very often it's in different settings, as you rightly said. However, when it comes to challenging behavior, some of the challenging behavior will be something like hitting someone, pulling someone, biting, kicking, hitting, slapping, destroying property. Some children even destroy their clothes. Some of them bite their clothes. They destroy doors, destroy hit windows, TV. But I just want to say there's always a reason for that behavior. which if we have time to discuss, I can always elaborate on why the challenging behavior or behavior that challenges. We can always have that discussion if you prefer.
True. Okay, so yesterday you tell about a term that was ABC. So I would like you to explain that again today to our viewer as well who will watch that. What is the ABC of the baby, which you explained me in our earlier discussion?
Okay, once we identify challenging behavior, then always there is a program in place that can help to um, modify the behavior or control it. But before we identify the behavior that challenges and then we find the ways to deal with it, very often it's important for us to know why the behavior that challenges. From our definition with autism, we always say that individuals with autism they struggle with communication and they also struggle with social interaction, which means anything to do with behavior, communication, and social interaction can always lead to a behavior which is not wanted, which is not necessary. A young child who is struggling to get food, who wants to eat, and cannot tell you that I'm hungry, if there is no communication, that child can get that behavior which challenges because they cannot ask you for food. They don't know how to ask for food. Or maybe they ask for food and you are not able to explain why the food is not there now. Sometimes it may be as a result of tummy ache, headache. It can be a pain in the body. It will cause that behavior that challenges. But because of that, after you have gotten that behavior which challenges, it's always good to find out to make a program in place how to manage that behavior. Now, we realize that there are different schools of thought that give an idea of how to manage it. In the UK, the first school of thought was identified by the National Autistic Society. And with the National Autistic Society, they use something called a, a spell. They use spell. The spell is the
Mm-hmm.
program that was designed to help individuals who have behaviors that challenging. And this spell is an acronym of words. I don't know. It is very easy to
Mm-hmm. Yes.
identify. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. I,
Okay,
I can hear you. Yes. I can hear
that's right.
you.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So what I was trying to say is that it's very easy to identify what to do with this spell. This the what which they consider the spell. The first thing to talk about spell is what they call the structure, and the structure is how to identify what is predictable. That is what you can see from the child. Then the second thing is called a positive approach. When you're talking of spell, it is SP. The P is a positive approach. The positive approach can mean when a child is needs something, what do you do to get that thing done or to say you can wait? So you use a positive approach to do that. We can't get it now, we can get it later. We can't get it this morning, we'll get it in the afternoon. You have some sort of positive approach. Then the third part is called the E. The E for the spell is empathy. And for empathy, you talk of being in the shoes of the individual, of the child. If the child says, I'm hungry, it's just like you knowing that you're hungry. What do you do with hunger? Maybe you can give some snacks or prepare the child for the meal which is coming on later. And then you have what they call low arousal. For the low arousal, it is how to minimize it to reach that last stage, which means you do everything that the child doesn't move from down there to up there. So, which means if you interact with the child before an incident or an accident, it will be easy to deal with that situation rather than allow it to go to that top. And the last part is called the link, which is advising us to link with other professionals like you. We have to interact with professionals like psychologists, speech and language therapists, physiotherapists, and everybody who can be influential in supporting the child. Now, that is what they use with the National Autistic Society. It's called SPELL. But you realize that some other specialists, like the behavior analysts, they can use what they call the ABA. We can use what they, sorry, not the ABA. We can use what they call the ABC. We have an ABC chart. With the ABC chart, it gives you what happens before. It's called the antecedent. What happens before, what happens during, and then what happens after. Which means if a child gets a behavior now, is kicking, is punching right now, and then the child calms down, it is very important to be able to write what happened before that incident. Then when you write what happens before the incident, you try to identify how the child behaved during the incident, and then you say what happened before the child is not having that behavior anymore. Once you document daily, weekly, monthly of what is being done, you will have a trend. You will know that maybe in the morning, if the child takes tea, it may cause a behavior that challenges. If you identify that, then you might change from providing tea to providing porridge. Then that behavior will not be there. So it is very important to identify what happens before the crisis. It may just be putting on a t-shirt which is having a different color. If the child doesn't like red, and every time they put red, there's a behavior. If you have been using the ABC chart, you'll be able to identify that. And once you identify that, you will know how to help that child. You will know how to identify the colors that the child likes, and then you modify the behavior. The child will not be lashing out when they put black because the child might like black. Once you have identified this, what we always do is that we try to identify resources. We identify resources that we can use to modify behavior. Does it make sense?
Okay.
Some of the resources that we identify, they may be.
Okay, so I would like to ask you something, another important aspect as well as we talk about.
Okay.
Okay, I would like to ask because it's a very important question as we are talking about the thing, because sometimes it's very difficult to identify the triggers which you are talking about, incident, what happened before triggers. So sometimes it's difficult to identify the triggers. Maybe it's easy to identify the triggers at home, but it is difficult to identify the triggers in the school and the social places as well. So in this situation, how we can manage the behavior?
Yes, you will discover that if there is communication between the family, that's between the home and the school, it will make it very easy to be able to identify the triggers. Which means if the parents are talking to the teachers or the staff that are supporting this child, the parent can actually inform you of what will make the child to lash out, of what will make a child to strip in the playground, or what will make a child to break the glasses in the bus. For instance, I've worked with a child who enjoys going to school. However, one of the days when there was a traffic on the main route, they took another route. And that was a big incident. There was a very big incident because the child thought you are going somewhere else. And he knew that it was school time. He knew the bus route, and you have taken a different route. So before you go on such journeys, and you know that this child can have a behavior, it is very important to identify that if we don't go like this, and we have to move this way, that child has to understand. Sometimes it means using pictures or having a program and say, oh, the road is blocked. Now we are going to get this side, but we are going to school. And do it over and over. You can use a story. You can use some pictures to tell a story to the child that we are still going to school. We are just going another way. If we don't do that, the incident might be very, very difficult to control. So once you are communicating with the parent and the teachers, you always know how to identify what is going to happen before it happens. And then when you have identified what is going to happen before it happens, you should know what you have to do as an individual, as a parent. For parents, it is quite hard because very often they are not just dealing with that one child, they're dealing with that child and other siblings and even their partners. So to cope is very, very difficult. But what is very important is if they work as a team, if the husband, the wife, and the other kids, they work as a team, it will be easy to cope with that. So one of the strategies would be to just communicate, to have this very good link. Sometimes it's even good to talk to other parents, to talk to other parents, to talk to the siblings of the child, so that they can have a common ground of relating, so that they can minimize those behaviors that challenge. Some of the behaviors that challenge also even is sexual behavior. That's
Thank
one
you.
of the that's one of the behaviors which is very hard to manage. The sexual behaviors of these young people with autism, it can be very scary sometimes, especially in public. The way the general public can look at it. Sometimes people call the police of their behaviors. So if you can identify that behavior, it's always good to look for a physiotherapist, a speech and language therapist. They can put a program in place that can support that family, support that child, or that can support that school, support that child, because it is very crucial for them to be able to integrate with every other activity that every other child has to participate in.
Okay. So we our discussion from initially is that how you're going to change the environment as a therapist perspective, as a parent's perspective, as a teacher's perspective. Now I would like you to ask how you're going to talk to a child that that behavior is not acceptable.
Dr. Anila, I think your internet might your internet might be breaking. I think your internet might be breaking. I didn't get the question very well, but I think you're asking how to communicate to the child about that behavior. There are different ways to communicate to a child of a behavior um, which is very good for everyone else. For instance, a child who destroy things or who hit others or even who bite themselves. Can you hear me, doctor?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can.
Okay, I think you were asking if how to support how to communicate to the child that the behavior is not very appropriate.
Yes, how to communicate the truth.
Your line just break again. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now? Your line just break again. There was a break in your internet. Anyway, before doctor comes in, I'm just going to continue. For me, some of the things I do is that I identify resources that the individual likes. For instance, if it's a teddy bear, a child who likes teddy bear, I'll always have that by the side. And the reason of having that is that in case there is a meltdown, it can be a very significant tool. I worked one time with a young boy who was fascinated with McDonald's box. And just that McDonald's box for him is more important than a Ferrari. than a Mercedes Benz, which means in cases where I identify that we can have an incident or a behavior problem, very often what I will do is that I will make sure that I provide that resource. I will make sure that I bring that box for the child. So there are so many resources. Welcome back, doctor. Sorry, I think your internet you keep going off and on, but I hope you're back now.
It's okay. Even then, you comment on because I have seen that on in live stream. If you're talking, then you're still live on live stream. Okay, so I
Right.
hope
Thank you
I
very much.
appreciate that effort that you're talking.
Yes. Okay. So what I was trying to say is I just want to identify some of the resources I use as an individual. There are some resources that I use, which is very good. Most of my resources I use with individuals with autism are mostly light sensory resources. For instance, I have a pen device. There's a pen device I use, and if you see what happens, you can use it to write. And a lot of children, it's sensory. It is quite sensory. So a lot of children would like to play with things like this. And if you have something like this, you just have to have it in your toolbox in case there's a meltdown of a child who likes light sensory devices. You will use something like this to enable the child to interact with that object and manage that behavior. Sometimes we'll realize that another very common device, which is very good to use, is this light bulb. They call it moods. If you see, it keeps changing, different colors. Some children who have those behaviors, if you give them something like this, they can spend a lot of time on this, just feeling good about it. And so it can always lower the arousal. That's the part they call the low arousal. They can always lower the arousal. So there are always so many tools that we use. There was a time in the UK, there was a device that was developed. They call it fidget spinner. And a lot of people use this fidget spinner.
True.
However, my daughter, I have a daughter who thought the fidget spinner is very boring because she will use it for a very short time. And then what we did was we created a fidget pen spinner. So we use the pen, and it's a spinner.
Wow,
So
that's
which means
amazing.
if you are bored, you can always turn the pen and you use it to write. So it is a fun play device.
Okay.
It's a quite fun play device. Some of the children who cannot play.
Okay, don't you think so?
Yeah, ask the question, please.
I think. Okay, the question. Sometimes I have seen a lot of therapists who are not who are not in the support of stimming. Don't you think so? I mean, I think that is a way how children are communicating with the world and how they're trying to keep themselves engaged, which is still actually, and there's another way of communicating to the environment as well. But I have seen a lot of therapists are asking child to not to stim, and they are prohibiting child to the stim. So what is your opinion about that?
It is very, very bad to stop a child from what they call steaming. You know, somebody who flicker the hands, the ones who rock, the ones who keeps getting up the chair and sitting down. It is very appropriate. If you discover we do that all the time during our daily activities, we do that all the time. We do steaming all the time. If you can just think of yourself sitting now on the stool, you realize that you have crossed your leg like 10 times.
Yes.
That is a form of steaming that you do without us noticing. And you are crossing it because when you feel tired this way, you move the other side. When you feel tired this way, you move the other side. An individual with autism, the brain doesn't work that way. For them, as long as I feel some pressure where I'm sitting, they will stand up and then they jump and then they sit back down. That is very, very useful in their daily activities. And nobody should stop someone who is doing what they call steaming. For me, it is just a way it's just a behavior which settles them. Sometimes it is a way of modifying their behavior. You have a lot of children who will steam to control a behavior which they are seeing in the outside. Sometimes it can be just the noise outside is too much, and then they will do that. They'll flap their hands and cover the ears. It is quite good to allow them to allow anyone to do that. Steaming is not something that if I see a specialist talking against steaming, I would not be happy at all. It is something that you have to allow people to express
Yes, it is.
themselves to the best way they
That's why I asked you that question. That is the reason I asked you that question because uh, humming all the time, singing, flapping their hands, or even sometimes there's a lot of things they are making different sound and stuff like that. And
yeah.
people get disturbed of these things, but they don't understand that these children are trying to make sense of the environment. And with humming, they're communicating and they're making sense of why people don't understand why these children like ABC, why these children like music. These are also form of stimming, humming, because it makes sense. It will be always like same. But whenever we go to some new environment, then it's different for these children, and they cannot make a sense of that environment. So to relate that environment, to communicate the environment, they are doing different acts. So I think okay, where you are showing me the toys. Do you have some other toys as well? For you are using you're giving your child to keep busy or something like that.
Yes, doctor, you've been freezing, so I didn't hear the question. I think it was frozen for a
Okay,
minute or
I
so.
mean, I don't know. Okay,
If
the thing
if
is
it
that
Yeah,
playing is never. The net is playing a lot of tricks with us.
tell
It's
me.
okay. It's okay. So that my question is that I want you to show me more toys you have. Like you show me very interesting toys, and I will ask you a question also about after that you show me that toys because it is important to get yourself because I don't like child all the time using this
Yeah,
all the time because it's a form of streaming as well doing this all the time.
yeah,
If I'm yes, this all the time. This.
yeah.
It's a form of maybe streaming or something like that. But even if you have some useful thing to give to the child, I think it's a very good thing. So do you have more toys to show me, or is that
I
the
do.
proper actually?
I do
Okay.
have a lot of sensory toys that I carry with me. I have something I call a mobile trolley. I have a mobile trolley.
Okay.
The mobile trolley
Okay.
is
Show me.
it means I can have my sensory room anywhere. Which means if I'm working
Okay.
with a child with autism who struggles to transition from the toilet and back to the classroom, I can carry my mobile
Okay.
trolley into the toilet and engage the child in a meaningful process, and we go back to class. One of the devices I have is this one. To show you what this one is,
Okay.
it's a ball. It's a ball. What I do is when you
Okay.
put this, when you put it on, it has some lights. When you put it on the ground, it moves. It moves on the ground.
Okay.
And then the child can be running after it. It's a ball. It moves. So and this one is very child friendly. They actually enjoy playing with this toy. And but it doesn't mean everyone will like it. But the child who likes it will keep it for a long time because it is quite it moves on the ground like a cat. This one moves. Why if I put it on the ground, it will be moving like a cat. And the
Okay.
child likes to run behind it. So it's a sensory ball. Another one which is quite friendly is this one. The way I use this toy is that there should be a coordination with this hand and this hand. If you
Okay.
don't coordinate, it will not work. Unless you coordinate, then it will work. Most children
Okay.
like
So you,
this
you
toy
both
as
need
well.
hands to be together. I think it's very good for eye hand coordination. But this is what I feel. Eye hand
Yeah,
coordination. I think it's very good toy for that.
that's right. So most children they use this particular toy a lot because it is quite friendly.
Okay.
Yes. So I use this one as well, and then I have this finger. The finger toy I
Okay.
use, it has a light in the finger.
Okay.
So which means you play around the child unless you touch, the light doesn't come on. Unless you touch, the light doesn't come on. And it's quite friendly.
This is very
It's quite
interesting
friendly.
one. I really
Yes.
like these toys actually. I like these toys for myself.
Yeah, it's
Because
quite interactive.
therapists also need to engage themselves into something.
Yes. It's really, really quite interactive. And then you will discover
Yes,
that
it is.
if you have the ones who are very young, we have a board, a sensory board.
Okay.
And with that sensory board, you have a pen. It is a light pen,
Okay.
which means you can write with light.
Oh, that's interesting. That is good.
Yes. It's the same material for this. It's the same material for this, for the t-shirt.
Okay.
So we use it like this to engage children who might be having challenging behavior to have something to focus on. So it takes away their attention from something else to something else. So sometimes it will help to engage them for a meaningful activity. This one you will discover that a child can use it just to do what they call do, just to be doing this. A child can do this for a long time. It doesn't cost anything to do this. But you discover that it is also
Yeah.
a very good and
Even
playful
I'm a
material.
therapist, and I'm thinking about a lot of utility of everything you have shown over here. As a therapist, you have that thing. So you start thinking about, oh, I can use this thing for that part thing, and I can use things because these are so important thing that
Yeah,
sometimes a child don't want to do some usual stuff.
that's right.
Child want to play with the Lego bricks, or child want to do something else. These important tools that it's very important, or it's very engaging for the child to to
Yes.
get engaged in the therapy room as well. There is a benefit that if a child keep this thing instead of buying them a lot of fancy stuff, maybe you invest on these things for the child, and maybe if you take child, you yourself child is somewhere else. I have seen a lot of children who have these headphones as well, and I think it's very important for them to have that headphones so that they can
Yeah.
control the noise effect, because I think the noise is the most triggered factor for these children to get temper tantrum as well. And it's important to control the noise as well. Okay, so I would last ask to one more question that is very relevant, because a lot of time parents used to say their child all the time turn off and on the light, and I will tell you what I gave my solution to them, and I would also like you to tell me what you how you gave. Okay, the child used to turn on and off light all the time, turn on the fan, turn off the fan all the time. So the mother used to say that the child is we are living all the time in the dark, and even they have a lamp at the home now, and they turn on that lamp just because of that reason. The child don't find the button so he can turn off that lamp. So say that she said we are living in the lamp all the time. So my solution to that mother was, we have small buttons, before plugging into the board, you have that button as well, and you can turn and on and off that button as well. My one suggestion was that. Second suggestion was a small torch, which you have shown me as well, just like that, not exactly like that, but you can give that torch to the child as well. So that was my solution. What solution you will give?
Yeah. One of the things we usually do is that once you notice something that they like, you can make your own. You can make your own similar to that, but it will move them
True.
away from that wall and then brings them closer to you. Now, for the one that you're talking about is switch. We make our own switch,
Yes, that's what
which the child can.
I thought. Switch. Yes.
Yes. It's just that I've taken out the battery, but we have the switch, which the child can do. So they don't need to go and be switching off the light. They can actually do it with you. And you realize that if they have that like something which is sensory, sometimes they are not interested in the light, but they might be interested in the sound of the switch.
Yeah, that's what. True. True.
When you notice that they're interested in the sound of the switch, what you do is that there's no need to even have battery, which means when you have just
True.
the switch, that sound is very therapeutic, which is something good to use. So most of the toys
And
we use, or most of
yes,
the
second, it is very
resources,
engaging as well. That's what I told to that mother, because there are board as well where you have these buttons as well. It's why buttons. Once you play with that sound as well all the time. And there was a magnet. I mean, you have seen that magnet or not? They use that magnet in the movies as well. There are two magnets actually, and you need to spin that magnet all the time, and it's producing very present sound as well, and
Yes.
sound making, and you can engage with that thing as well. So I think before we're talking a lot about managing behavior, which is a good difficult thing or different thing as well, but we should also know that how we can do some emergency management with ourselves as a parent, as a teacher, so that we immediately give this thing to the child, and that they start playing with that thing and getting it, instead of creating trouble for sometimes their own self as well, because sometimes they don't know, because they don't have the sense of danger and safety sometimes. So they can hit
That's right.
themselves, they can break the glass, and they can create some form of emergency situation at that. And sometimes if other child that get hurt, so then it is some form of unpleasant situation with the police as well. So I think our discussion is going on very important aspects. And okay, I would like you to tell me that if we talk about adults, like we are talking about child because we both are working about child, and you cannot take out children from your discussion, which is important to talk about. What about the adults? Because when they grow adult, they have same issues. Maybe it is modified sometimes, somehow. Maybe they can integrate these issues in their life somehow, or they learn how to integrate these issues with their life somehow. Even then they have issues. So what are the challenging behaviors for adults?
Yes. Like everyone else, the adult will have behavior very similar to the child. We'll discover that some of the adults, their behaviors have been the behavior they had when they were children, till even when they're adults. But very often it is controlled because, especially when they get to when they're teenagers and after they become adults, when they move out of the teenage, their hormones play a lot with the way they behave. So it is a lot more when they are teenagers, but as they grow older, they reason more how they learn how to cope with those behaviors. But you discover that some of the behaviors that adults with autism will present sometimes it's just coming out of the car when it's going on. You know, when you're driving, they want to come out of the car, so they are not aware of danger, so they can just come out of the car. They can just walk out of the house and want to cross the road when they are not feeling comfortable. They can strip, they can tear off their clothes in public, they can strip naked. A lot of them still bite themselves. They bite themselves, they can bite others. A lot of them can punch, can hit. Some of them actually pull their own hair and remove their hair,
Yes.
or pull the hair of others. And that is why working with some of them, if you know their plan, if you have their care plan, you will know what you're supposed to do around them. For instance, if you are a lady and you keep your hair like that, maybe it'll be advisable to put your hair back and maybe wear something like a cap, so that if the individual wants to pull it, you pull by the cap. If you are a man and you feel comfortable cutting your hair, it'll be good to cut your hair so that your hair is not being pulled and things like that. So we they have similar problems with children. But what I always discourage is going for medication. I will do it till the end. I always discourage going for medication, but having resources in place that can engage them and make them learn, unlearn behaviors, give them the toys, give them things to be with, which will to make them engage, and they actually engage with them. A lot of the behaviors is because they are being isolated. They are being isolated at home. They are being isolated when they are with their carers. They are being isolated. As long as they are not getting involved, at some point they will lash out, and that behavior will come out. So we can always manage those behaviors by engaging them with activities that they feel comfortable with and they are happy to join.
Secondly, I think that they're adult, or they're teenager, they still need a therapy, so they should go to therapist. Because nowadays I'm working with a lot of teens with autism and ASD and ADHD who are coming to me for the depression and anxiety. These are the things. Okay, they grow up, they somehow studied, or they somehow did completed their education, but they still have issues in the communication as well, and they still have troubles in different things as well. Okay, I would like you to ask something because I think you have might notice this as well, that if you talk about teenagers, then they get into impulsive behavior. But if you talk about children with autism, an adult with autism or teenager with autism, then there are more chances to get involved with these behavior. Okay, what could be impulsive behavior? It could be, some kind of, risk taking behavior, rash driving. It could be rash driving. Sometimes, these children steal without any without any reason. It's kind of impulse. They just act on their impulse. They don't need that thing, even they have that money as well. But they steal something, and it could be very, problematic situation for the parent as well. So how we can manage such kind of impulsive behavior? uh, Maybe somehow, some mother is there who is have issues to manage these behavior.
Yeah.
What can we do about that?
Yes, some of the behaviors, ways to deal, especially when you are like a teenager or you are a grown up, you will discover that they want to do things that grown ups do. For instance,
Yeah.
they want to go to parks, they want to access community facilities, they want to go swimming, they want to go to parks, they want to attend games. If you know that you are working with somebody with autism who enjoys these activities, what you should do is always have a plan in place. For instance, if you are traveling 30 minutes away and you know you are going by bus, what is very important for you to do is to get like a social story, having the different stops where the bus is going to stop. You have stop one, stop two, stop three, till the 10th stop. You provide it to that individual. So our first stop is here. We are going to stop here. Next stop is this, to the last stop. If you identify all the stops, the individual with autism is not going to be anxious on the bus. They're going to actually enjoy it. They're going to enjoy the ride. So you must engage them along the way so that they don't get lost while a bus, they know that they're going to point B. If it stops somewhere else, they don't understand why. If you had identified the stops along the way, every time it stops, you show them that picture. It was supposed to stop here. Now it is going to the next stop. It will stop here, but we are going here. They know where it's going to end. Once they have a structure, it's going to work. Very often, you will not have a structure. Sometimes there are
And second,
changes.
they
But
have
when
very
there are
good memorize these things as well.
say it again.
So they have very good memory of, ways. I'm saying that they
That's
have a
right.
very good memory as well, and they will memorize that thing as well. So it will be very easy for them to, go along with these things. Okay, there is
Yeah.
another question I would like to. Thank you so much, AC. AC is here actually. Hi.
Hello, AC Bank. That's
Thank you so much for
that's my
coming.
very good friend.
I almost missing this. Actually, we have a support group today, and I also asked her to come into that group as well. It's about the for the parents and for the adults who have disabilities, and for parent, for
Yeah.
mother, for as well. So I give her that invitation as well. Okay, there is one very
Yes.
important question, and I keep a lot of curious about that thing as well. When a child with,
Yeah.
this could happen with autism, this could happen with other disabilities as well, that if a child has some guests come to the home, then parents say the child is behaving very awkwardly, the child is not happy, the child is crying all the time, the child is having a lot of temper tantrums, and it is very difficult for the parents to take that child to some places as well, like they cannot take the child to the hospital, or to the playground. So what we can do about that?
Yes. It is. It's always a struggle to introduce the child to something new. It's always a struggle to introduce the child to something new. What is very good to do is we have speech and language therapists, we have physiotherapists, we have psychologists. It is very, very important to talk with them. The reason why it's important to talk with them is because they're going to provide, they'll give you options of what you can do. For instance, if you have a child who wants to, if you have an individual, an adult who wants to access the community, who wants to move from one stop to the next, what you can do is do what they call travel training. You can have a travel training from one stop to the next. You do it the first time, then you tell the child we are going to do it again tomorrow. You do it the second time, you do it the third time. The individual will get used to that. And with time, the individual will engage in that travel, will like to travel. So you must begin slowly and then you get there.
Okay, so what about these guests who are coming at home? Actually, parents, they sometimes complain all the time that we cannot invite some guests at our home just because of this reason. The child is creating a lot of troubles for them. So, what can they do about that?
Nothing. If you have a guest who doesn't like children with autism, let them not come to the house. If you have a
No, no, it's not
guest,
like that. I'm talking about the child. Yes, that is my perspective as well. I'm very much, sensitive to that aspect. If somebody don't like these children, don't invite these people. But I'm talking about
now,
the child. I'm talking about the
yeah,
child. What they can do with
that
that
is
child?
no, that is still very okay because you see, if a child is not comfortable with somebody, don't bring the person closer. The reason is that is how life is. If a child is not comfortable with us, because where I work, when the person with autism is not comfortable with a particular staff, we swap, we change other staff. The reason is it's just like me and you. If you're not comfortable with me, you will not call me to come to your place. We have to relate like that. Everybody has equal opportunity. If the child is not comfortable, let the person go. It's very important for them, for their well-being
Yes,
and their mindset. As we are talking about autism, we are thinking of their mental health. If they say they don't like rice, don't give them rice. If a child says you will not put the rice for the child to have that rice when the child is very hungry because the child doesn't want it, and you say if you don't eat rice, you will not eat. That is very bad. That one can actually cause mental health issues. So once
yeah,
the child is not comfortable with anything, take that thing out and replace it. Sometimes you can find out why the child is not happy with that. It may be the person's dressing. It may actually be the perfume that the person is using. The
yeah.
person might be
Even the
having a
smell of that
perfume.
food, smell, the aroma, the taste, the color, the dish we are presenting, because there are a lot of things a child is like. Okay.
Yeah,
You know why I asked the question? For example, I am from different culture, you are from different culture. That is the point. I'm from Asian culture, I'm from Pakistan, and you're from UK. And even if you go back to your own culture as well. The thing is that, for example, nowadays we have celebration is coming in, and parent would be say if somebody came to us on Eid, but what we are going to do, because our child is not comfortable. The thing is that in usual they don't see a lot of people at their home. That is the point. Maybe it's not about maybe the child is like that people. It's about the child don't have a lot of people at home that time, but when it's some kind of time of celebration, then there's a lot of people, then there's a lot of children, then there's a lot of laugh, and there's a lot of things are going around at home, and maybe the hustle around as well. So so I when that question came to me, and even somebody one day my mother asked me that I'm going to my mother house, what I can do, my child is not comfortable, and you know what suggestion I gave her? Ask your parents to have a video whole face to you. So
that's right.
your child should know that this is where I am going. One thing is that. Second thing is that the moment you enter in the house, show your child to the whole house. Make him comfortable. Make him familiarize with the environment. That is, that could be a very good strategy. What do you think about that?
Yes. I just want to add that if you have
Yes.
those
Thank you so much,
events.
AC. Yes, I agree to your point.
Okay, what I wanted to say is that if you have those events which you have to involve individuals with autism, it is very important to prepare them before. For instance, where I work with children with autism, during when it's getting to Christmas, I know that they're going to meet a lot of flashy lights. I know that they're going to have a lot of fireworks for the end of the year in
Yes.
December, end of the year. They're giving lots of fireworks. Then I have lots of flashy lights. Very often what I will do is that I will prepare. I have in my toolbox. I have those flashy lights which behave like fireworks, and I prepare them towards that journey. So that when it comes
Okay.
to December, when they're doing that, it doesn't have it becomes they relate to it. Then you have the fireworks because fireworks is very scary even to dogs. It's very scary even to dogs.
Yeah. It is.
I, we use some of this type of lights. The type of lights that I've been using, we put it to interact with the room to make it flashy. There are some that I connect it to electricity and I point it to the sky and it flashes. When it flashes like that,
Okay.
in a way, the child gets that experience, and then in December or during those time of those activities, they don't really get affected. Also, we will use when it gets into snow, when it's getting to winter, there's a lot of snow. I have a lot of
Yeah.
toys. I have some snow toys, some toys like some bottles that
Okay.
have snow inside. We spray it on the floor, on the table, and they play with it. When it gets to snow, they can interact with it. They
Shake it
can
out and snow come around. You're talking about that?
yes. So
Okay.
I have this snow spray that I use. So it works very well as well. So it's just good to introduce them before time, so that when they reach that time, it's not a problem. Are you there? The one important thing to do as I wait for you is that to train the relevant staff. If you train your staff very well, they'll always know what to do. Most of the staff who are trained, they actually engage very well with children with autism. And the engagement, you have to always include the families, especially the parents, because when they know what the staff is doing and what the child is doing, there is a way they understand each other and they can provide a very good network of support. And the child will actually enjoy himself or herself. Even if it's an adult, always communicate with the different teams. We call it a multidisciplinary team. You can communicate with their doctor, their personal doctor. You can communicate with their speech and language therapists, occupational therapists, and then you can communicate with their family members, the mom and dad. You update them of what is happening, on what is taking place. The most important thing is that once you have this interaction between parents and other professionals, it provides a very good platform for success or for a very good outcome. The reason is that with these individuals we work with or the individuals we support, um, they need everyone to have all hands should be on deck. And that is why when you have resources that you use and you know the resources that the individual likes, they can actually contribute to a meaningful learning experience. For instance, like when we were talking about the use of someone who clicks lights, if somebody keeps switching on and off the light and you are able to get a device like this, you realize that sometimes it will not make the person will not feel like getting up to do that because maybe it can be distracting to the other siblings. Once they have this, they have the switch in their hands so they can play with it. While I like playing with my iPhone or playing with another device, if the child likes to play with a light switch, why not have it? That is the way I look at it. Why I like playing with normal football, which I run after the football, a toy like this one, which runs after me. If you put this thing on the ground, it will be walking, it will be sliding down. I would instead prefer, if the child prefers this one, why not give the child this one? If the child prefers to have this one and play with this, why not? Provided the different toys that the child actually enjoys to be with. I always like this one is my best because I call this one for the mood. You discover that the way the light shines, it changes colors. Working with a child, I worked with a child, I supported a child with autism for just 3 minutes. And within 3 minutes, the child knew every light that comes next. So like this, the child will tell me what is coming next, what's coming next. They know the lights, which means it was a very good resource for that child. So just identify what the child likes and then make the child get the best experience. This pen is commonly used now. It's very commonly used now. And you realize that they can use it for spin. If you like, you can put on the light, you still spin it. If you like, you can put it on the ground and roll it. And things like that. And it will always work.
Yes, I'm back.
Welcome back. But I didn't stop. I was just talking. I didn't stop.
Yes, I'm back.
Yes, welcome back, Dr. Anila. I was just saying that when you left, I didn't stop. I kept talking. you know,
Thank
because
you
that's
so
what
much.
they do.
Thank you so much that you got this understanding now.
Yeah. It has frozen again. I think
I would like to respond to some questions and then we will continue our discussion. And I was so happy that our discussion went. I have a small girl around me over here,
that's all right. That's
and
okay.
she's keep on talking.
Hello, baby girl. Yeah, I like that. Your network is still freezing. I think it's frozen right now. But I know you know what we are doing. We are talking about managing behavioral challenges. Are you there, doctor? Okay.
I'm in the studio 3 times.
No problem.
That is interesting, by the way.
By I
Actually, I came through.
came through.
Still have an issue. I'm 3 times. Actually, I'm on through my mobile phone. Let me respond to some queries.
Respond to queries.
Oh my god, it's scary now.
Oh my god, it's scary.
I can see you appearing
thank you so
twice.
much.
But just ask the
Yes,
question.
now. Okay, I was responding some questions. Okay. Thank you so much, AC and the Voice of Hope Media with AC Mibank. I sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Sometimes, especially parents of non-autistic individuals, they say when the child is hungry, she will eat, or the child will get used to it. That is not good. Yes, very much tried that. Sometimes, and there's another thing as well. Sometimes you do put a lot of force on the child to eat something, and he don't want to eat. But the thing with autistic children is that they don't eat at all. I mean, if you could leave these children for a longer period of time, then maybe you have seen that thing as well. That they don't eat that thing at all. So the eating part is very, very tricky, and Eric, you will also agree to that aspect as well. That eating is a tricky business for these children. Okay, Maddie, that is preparing them for advance. Yes, it is, and Eric Moore provides training as well. Yes, do you provide training? I think it's a question for you.
I do. I provide training for the use of sensory devices. Yeah.
Okay, we work. She's also saying that we work proactively with them to prevent a challenging behavior. Yes, we are working all the time with children, especially with children, parents, and teachers as well, so that we work as a team. And it's the betterment of the child. Maybe we have to go sometime to the extra mile to work for these children, but at the end of the day, who is getting more benefit of our all effort is the child. And as a therapist, it's our job to make a healthy, supportive environment with our children.
That's right.
Okay, Mehdi is saying Anila might be interested in seeing those gadgets again. Please recap. I'm actually interested in taking that gadgets from you. I love these gadgets actually.
I know. What I do. What I was saying is that we just make some of these gadgets. Most of them are sensory. They are light sensory devices. But for instance, this one is my own creation. There it is. So you can play with it on t-shirts.
Yes, it is.
Yes. And that's the same one for children, especially those ones who are 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You can use a board like this. And then we'll use a light sensory pen. What is very good with this pen is that it helps in dexterity. That's for the child to be able to press and then write. So you can actually see that a child can press it.
Yes. Jiri, more big roka.
We'll write on it.
More big roka.
And then they'll write on it.
Yes.
Then the ones we use in playing with the child is something like Yes, something like the thumb one.
Yes.
It's very fun playing with a child, especially one with autism.
So is it made of rubber actually?
Yeah, it's something that you can wear on different fingers. You can wear them on different fingers. But the thing is that you press it
Okay.
inside. You press it inside to make it work. You press it inside to make it work. And then you have the pen one, which you can put the light and you spin it. And then you have this one, which works. So we just make it very friendly. And then you have the ball. When you put it down, if I put it down, it moves. It's going. Going. So why put it down?
Oh. You know, there's a
See,
yes.
it's going. So that's how it works. I have many more in the trolley box, but the ones I have, some of them are connected to you need to connect it to electricity, and then you make it to be more fun.
Okay.
So I have a lot of it in some boxes that I carry with me all the time.
Okay. So you're doing this session in your own clinic, or you're at home?
No, I do it in schools. I take it to schools, and I work with children with autism in schools. Yeah, and then I have private
Okay, so-
parents who invite me for it as well.
Okay. So you provide a private session as well after working with
Yes.
school. You just do private practice as well. Okay.
I still do
The
private,
interesting question: from where you get these toys? Actually, I really like all of them, and I like them for myself actually. To use them in therapy instead of giving that child to take this out and to get engaged with themselves.
Yes.
I think the mice are
Some of them, especially my private ones, like the ones I created. This one is my creation. I made this one. Most of these private
okay.
ones, yeah, most of these private ones, I sell them on eBay. I sell them on eBay because I call it pen book.
Okay.
So I can always send you the link. I sell them on eBay, even with all
Okay.
this
You can.
material.
Okay.
So maybe at the end of this discussion, I can give you the link, and then you put it at the bottom of this.
Yes, we will do it for those who want to, because it's very important to know, instead of, doing a lot of thinking, a lot of, all the time, what I will do with my child and how he's going to do something outside, how I'm going to engage my child over there. It's better to have a place like that, equipment which is safe as well, because the equipment you have shown me, these are all very safe equipment for children. So such a safe thing, so they can play with these toys and stay engaged as well, instead of crying and getting. And the thing is that it's a very interesting things about these children, because they're hyper focused actually. So you can use their hyper focus over here as well, because if you give them a try for stimming or for getting engaged, so maybe they start hyper focusing at that place, and you feel comfortable your child taking outside as well. Okay, thank you so much, Eric, for today's discussion. That was a long discussion. Maybe it was a little bit fumbling as well, but I really enjoyed talking to you. And nice talking to you, and nice for sharing your toys with me actually. It was interesting toys, and thank you so much for answering my question. And maybe that was tricky a bit also, but you answered them very carefully. Because your host is also a therapist who happened to be expert as well.
That's right. I look forward to hear from you again. We can have
Yes,
another
sure, very sure. I really enjoyed today, and we will work on because there are a lot of things. But I think why people if everybody say that our child is diagnosed, it's not about diagnosis actually. Okay, you get to know what is your diagnosis, and you can get maybe some some facilities for your child. But the thing is that how you're going to work with the child at home, and how you're going to engage the child when you're going outside. So it's a lifelong thing. It's a lifelong process, and we have to plan everything for the children as well. So I think by doing such discussion on regular basis, maybe we are putting something in the community to make them understand that they are not alone. They can come to some place, they can ask some question, and they can get rid of their anxieties and depression as well. So thank you so much for today's discussion, and I'm looking forward for more discussion as well. Thank you so much for the toys as well. That was interesting. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. It's how a Muslim says actually. Allah Hafiz.
Okay.
God bless you. God bless you. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We hope to see you soon in another discussion. And thank you for understanding about the issue with the net. But thank you so much for staying there for us. And I'm looking forward to see comments from your side. And if you want to have some discussion, or you want me to discuss subtopic with some some expert, then you're free to tell them. You're free to tell me, and I will invite these guests, and I will discuss about these things or about the topic which you want me to talk. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye bye.